Welcome, everybody, to the Air Force Golf Show. I'm Dave Roberts.
Rudy J.
Hey, we're saving lives one swing at a time. We got a really great show today, Rudy. We're going to talk how golf is reflected in your life and
How's it affect the military, though?
big time. So, folks, I want you to pour yourself a cold one. We're going to be right back. You're listening to Rudy and Dave, the Air Force Golf Show. Welcome back, everybody, to the Air Force Golf Show. I'm Dave Roberts.
Rudy J.
Hey, folks, we are saving lives one swing at a time, and we're also changing lives one swing at a time. And Rudy, today's topic is how life and golf, they mimic each other, right? And
Sure.
the life lessons that you learn along the way. And, it starts with the children, of course, the first tee programs, the STPGA, and stuff like that. But as we go along in life, you can kind of tell someone's personality while they're on the golf course.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, I feel like it mirrors life in the sense of, I was thinking about this. Like in life, I think it's not a new set of irons. It's not a new driver. It's not a Scotty Cameron putter. It's you getting up. You woke up. That's a great thing, right? And on the golf course, I feel like it mirrors life in the sense of if you're out there, it's a good time. It doesn't matter if you shoot a 103 or an 72 or a 120 like I've shot. It's just the fact that you're out there and enjoying the game. Obviously, just like how you just wake up and you're enjoying life. So for me, that's how I mirrored them. You wake up, you winning. If you're on the golf course, you're winning. So that to me, when you sent me that, I was like, yeah, it does mirror life because I've never had a bad day on the golf course, no matter my score.
That's right. A
Right.
bad day at the golf course is better than a good day at work in my book.
Absolutely.
And I always say, folks who don't know how to play golf, that's why they work. So,
For sure.
one of the things in golf, as it does mirror life, is people's personalities. You find on the golf course, if they're maybe cutting that score a little bit, they're a little over rambunctious would be a good
I'm not
word.
playing with somebody that cheats. I'm
Yeah.
not doing it. I mean, I'll finish the round, but I'm
Right?
not calling them next Sunday.
You're right, because that's that guy who shoots 6, hollers 5, and he writes down 4, and you're like, dude, you
Can't
don't
play
got
with them.
no.
Can't win with them.
So you see those, but then you also see the quiet guy,
Yeah.
and you see him off the golf course. Let's say you're at one of your local stores. He's still that same thing, and I'll give you an example with Tim Duncan.
Sure.
He was exactly the same way when I gave him the lesson. Insert picture.
I'm just wondering how did we get 4 minutes into the show before you started name dropping?
Well, no, it's not
That's
that,
just-
but he's a classic example because everybody knows him as mild mannered. The only guy to get a tech
No.
for laughing, right, and get thrown out of the game, right?
Same guy on the course.
He's the same guy on the course. He's the same guy in public life. Same guy out on the bowling center and stuff. And you've got those other guys who you can kind of tell they're a little shady. The way they play.
But it depends on the group I'm with, right? Because you
or how much money you're playing for.
Well, that too. If I'm playing for money, then it's a whole different thing. I don't play for money often, but doesn't your personality change? Because we're speaking to the Sunday hackers, right? Your personality change. Like, let's say you like, hey, I want to go play some golf. None of my buddies are free. You go as a onesome, and they put you with 3 other guys. You may not be Dave. Well, you're gonna be Dave anywhere you go be. But I may be a different Rudy. I may just want to make sure, hey, I want to fit in with this group. I may not want to laugh that they just missed a 2-footer like I would with my guys. Doesn't not you as a person change, but you also want to be a guy that people enjoy golfing with. Does that make sense?
Right.
That's to me mirrors life too. Like every room that I walk in is different.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Oh, you're 100%
Okay.
correct because when I go play as a onesome, like I did the other day,
Okay.
I went out to go play and they hooked me up with 3 guys I didn't know. And so I went on the first hole and I hit a shot and they go, oh, that's pretty good. Oh, yeah. And so I was just, blowing it off. And by about the 6th hole, the guy says, dude, what do you do for a living? Right. And I'm like, well,
Were you playing that well, Dave?
yeah, I actually was because, we were playing.
Here we go.
We were playing from the white tees, right? Which is tee up.
That's one end, yeah.
That's one up. And so, I still hit it, even though I'm 62 pretty good for an old guy. Um, we were playing and, making a couple putts, made a couple birdies out at Randolph Oaks Air Force Base.
Nice.
And they were like, hey, man, you're pretty good. What do you do for a living? I was like, well, I'm a consultant for golf.
Why don't you just tell the truth?
Rudy, if you did not know me the way you know me, and I didn't know you the way you know me, and we just got up on the number one tee box, and if I told you I am one of two of the golf professionals
Right.
for the United States Air
I wouldn't
Force,
want to play with you.
right? Because what you think is a golf professional,
Right.
you're thinking professional golfer, like things that I used to try to be,
It's a
like on the mini
difference.
tours. There's a difference between the professional golfer and the golf professional.
Yes.
We oversee and run golf courses where
Mm.
professional golfers, that's all they
See,
do.
I learned something new. Okay.
See, so if I went up there and said that, then people would say, "Well, we'll just let you go." Right. But I want to be around people because I enjoy in this point in my career. It's not about the tournament golf, but it's, growing the game of golf and
And that
making
to me mirrors life because you decided at that moment on the first tee box, I'm going to make sure that I make these guys comfortable. You know what I mean? Because you're in a new setting. It's their threesome. I bet you, speaking golf terms, they probably didn't want one. They're probably like, hey, we got three. It's cool. You know what I mean? Then you came, but you fit in with that group. And I think that mirrors life because you have to be able to adapt. Since we're talking about golf mirroring life, you have to be able to adapt to different situations. And you made that choice to adapt to that situation and probably made for a great 18.
it was very fun.
See?
They enjoyed it. Talked to PGA Hope because I wear PGA Hope everywhere.
I love it.
Insert picture, and so I'm trying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, I talk about the PGA Hope program and veterans, and I tell them it's lessons for veterans. I don't tell them that I'm giving the lessons, right? I'm
Mm.
just steering to the website because as soon as you go to the Southern Texas PGA, you're going to see my picture on there as one of the lead instructors for Joint Base San Antonio. And so I try to make everybody at ease because of the perception. It's a stereotype that professional golfers and golf professionals are the same thing. PGA of America is totally different from the PGA Tour, but we're still good golfers because we have to have a playing ability to become where we're at.
No, I don't want to take lessons from a guy that can't play.
Right.
That's just I'm
You're
just
going to
being
have fun
honest.
because we're going to get out there and I'm going to get you golf ready and get you out there and play
How do you
and
know
give you some
how do you
things.
know I'm not golf ready? How you
Ready?
going
Ready?
this is our first episode and you're insulting me in front
Ready?
of all these people.
I'm not insulting you. I'm just telling you I know what your goals are for 2026. And won't you tell everybody what your
I
goals?
will, but let me say it.
Well,
Let me say I'm
sometimes I
terrible.
got to
Because
prod you
look,
because you're a very humble guy.
I'm not golf ready, but let me say it.
Okay. Are you golf ready?
No.
See, so let's
No,
get
I'm
golf
not
ready.
golf ready. And that mirrors life. Golf mirrors life in that because it's like one of those things where you're like, you know what, in life you're not gonna go 100% from the field. And you darn sure ain't gonna go 100% from the field in golf. But how do you react to it? You know what I mean? Do you let it get you down, or do you just keep pushing and keep having fun and deal with what you can deal with? So yeah, and in life you have to admit your shortcomings, and you definitely got to admit your shortcomings on the golf course. So this is a
So
great
let's go
topic.
back with
Great
that.
topic.
Okay. So let's go back with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Because one of the things you talk about is, your shortcomings, right? And you've got to deal with them. Okay. You're not going to play scratch golf at the beginning of Get Golf Ready. So what I want you to do is focus on your personal par.
What's par?
What you make it is it if 100 shooter, you want to say my goal is to bogey every hole, which would be 92. It's not going up the escalator. You're taking a step at a time. So then let's say we get you from 95 to 90. Now you can say, Dave, what does it take to get to 85 to 80? So then we give you that instruction, but in a way that not only that it's easy to comprehend, but be comfortable for you. As in life, you and I, in our other side of our life, we have a talent that a lot of people don't have. Okay. And we have been on the air for many, many, many years. But, we've had guests and you've had guests that have come into the studios where we previously worked. And even though they're not talking to somebody live like what we do, sometimes we're in a studio, but they freeze up
Oh
because they
gosh.
don't have that. So then you've got to personal par them along, so to speak,
I like that
to get
analogy.
them
Love that analogy.
to open up a little bit and then
Absolutely.
have that conversational piece like you and I, because you and I, and I'm not gonna say it's bragging, but we've done this for many years, folks. We can go in and we can just start talking and
It's a
conversations. We have a lot of
conversation.
things, but then you've got people who are like, let's say, PGA professionals. They're greatest at their game. They know the thing. They know the game inside out. But you put a mic in front of their face.
They're in the headlights.
Yes, and so usually what I used to do at the old studio is where you used to see the producer, I used to put a picture of somebody up there and I said, "Talk to him, don't talk to me."
Hmm.
And then it was really familiar. So
Is
they
that
thought they
kind
were
of the
talking
same
to
with you?
Fuzzy or Lee
Yeah.
or somebody like that. That's who they're talking to. They're not because getting to me, they think I'm evaluating every word. I'm not. I'm listening to the words. And that's what happens in life. When you're having conversation with people, you think they're already stereotyping you, right?
Sure. Ah,
And
okay.
yes, because I
Fair.
get it all the time, right? Especially on the golf pro side, and I get it also on the entertainment side too, right? That we're stereotyped, but they really don't know. Because what you see here on camera with me in private life, I'm more like Robin Williams, very quiet.
I don't believe you.
Charlie Brown.
I don't believe
No,
you.
I'm to
I
myself.
don't
I
believe you.
rather just sit, relax, sit in some smooth jazz
Was that your
and chill
approach
out.
on when you're giving lessons to the vets? Like, it's like, look, I'm not here to judge you. I'm gonna watch you, and then we'll help you along the way. Is that your approach? Like how you approach it when you're doing an interview
Yes.
with a golf pro?
Right, because what we do is when with the veterans is one, it's a little different because I am one of them. I'm also a disabled vet. So I speak their language. When I'm
Mm,
talking to golf professionals and I'll give you well, he doesn't count. Fuzzy Zeller is a great interview. But when I
that's
interviewed
number
Gary
two.
Player,
That's number three.
no, no, that's kind of
That's
cool.
that's number three.
Gary
Three
Player
name drops in the first.
came on our
That's a
podcast.
great get, by the way.
And he actually came back the second day. But in the beginning, he didn't know how to react. And Gary is given a lot of things. He's a great guy, great spokesman.
Gary's a super huge personality, so
But
I'm
when we
shocked at that.
started talking
Yeah.
and asking him some questions about ambassadorship and
Yeah.
things like this, in the beginning, he was a little timid. And then that guy is more patriotic than half the Americans. He just let it go. And then he pulled out and said, "Hey, David, Mike, do you mind if I come back next week?" I'm not saying no to that guy.
Who says no to Gary Player?
But then when I got another person who's a famous person, um, I won't mention any names because then you're gonna say that's number five,
Messing with you.
right?
Mention him.
Okay. Tom Kite. Okay. Tom Kite is a very meek person. He doesn't like to give interviews. So it was like pulling teeth
Oh, I can't.
out of
I
getting
don't like
Tom
those.
Kite
I
to
don't like those
talk.
interviews, but I got
And you're trying to find a thing. And so we start talking University of Texas, which he was, there with Ben Crenshaw. And then that finally opened him up a little. But you know how you've got to search and interview and prod
Yeah.
and try to find the right keyword. And so in real life, Tom is very, very quiet. And on the golf course, he's very, very quiet. And then when we had him, for an interview live, it was he's he's quiet. He
Yeah.
won't talk.
Golf
But
mirrors
he's the
life.
one who
Yeah.
wanted to go on the interview,
Yeah.
so you're like that. But it does life mirrors a lot. You can tell. Me, I've lost a little bit of weight, but I used to be rounder than a quarter pounder.
Look
Everybody,
great. You look great.
oh no, I'm trying to be like Rudy J. You're my hero, man. So guys, I had a guy who I hit a golf ball pretty well, and it went down there, and the guy said, "Not bad for a fat guy."
That's rude.
He didn't know I was a PGA pro.
That's rude.
He goes, "Not bad for a fat guy, right?"
That was pretty. That was pretty rude.
And I said, "Well, I'm not fat. I'm rounder than a quarter pounder. There's a difference, okay?"
You should have told him I'm big boned.
A big bone, right? And
Yeah.
so this guy stereotypes fat guys can't play golf.
Oh, got you. Which isn't true.
Which is not true.
That's not true at
Oh,
all.
no, you look at Lumpy on the PGA Tour, Tim
Yeah,
Harris, oh,
there's
guy,
plenty of guys that are big
or
boned.
Beef, that one guy,
Yeah.
they can all play. So again, it's people think it mimics life, but it does, and there are stereotypes up there. But life in golf, not only like we're talking about personalities, it also reflects. You can tell the guy who doesn't want to ever walk, and the guy who loves, and loves to ride that cart about 10 inches from the green, and you the guys who exercise a lot that love to.
They only
Yeah, he's like he says, you know what? I'll get in the cart and I'll drive from the drive down to my shot, and then I'm gonna walk the rest of the way in. And then you find out and you start talking to these guys. These are guys who walk 2 miles in the morning. They're over at the gym and stuff like this. And so these little cues, and in my world, it's business. I listen to people how they present themselves and talk. You know, have you ever played with a guy who has spent half his round on the phone?
That's happened. That's
Right.
happened. But most of the time it's guys, because they're supposed to be in the office and they're
Right.
working remote.
We call that telework
Telework. Yeah, that's
or
the only time.
or golf work,
Yeah.
but it's telework. But you get this guy who spends more time doing things, even on a Saturday or Sunday. And you're like, dude, you come out here to relax and practice. Come to find out, that guy goes 100 miles an hour on the 55-mile-an-hour plan back home, either whether at the house or at the office. He
I
never
like it.
stops. Well, you
I
come
see
out to
what you're
golf to
saying.
relax. So I pick up cues like that as how these guys are on their personalities on the golf course. The guy who throws the club, I guarantee you that boy's a hothead when and so with all of this, golf really mimics real life in many, many ways. Because as
Absolutely.
you know me, I am that way on the golf course. Speaking of, I spoke with folks. When I was a young person playing golf, right? I was playing in not a mini tour, but he was playing in a tour event. I was in a pro am, and I said, "What is the secret to your success?" He says, "I can only concentrate 45 seconds at a time."
That's most men.
Right? Well, yeah, especially when people
That's
tell me
most men.
something to do.
That's yeah,
You
that's
got to
most
tell me
men.
again because I did hear you the first time, but I got to comprehend that
That's
one,
most men. That's not a
right?
golf thing. That's men.
But so what I do is I only comprehend, but I only practice thinking 45 minutes at a time. The rest of it, I'm Dave, because being Dave is also relaxing you, having fun. We're gonna have fun. I'll play a little music on the golf course. Uh, you know,
I love that we can play music on the golf
you
course.
swing
When
tip.
I started, we weren't playing music on the golf course when I started. This is
Oh no.
'09, and then it gradually just started happening. So again, it's supposed to be a getaway.
Well, with the generational needs changing
Yeah,
of the
absolutely.
golfers, I mean, back in the day, it was, you had to have a collared shirt, and then Tiger came in and he got the mock necks, right? And, on the military courses, we relax a little bit. If you have a decent t-shirt, performance shirt,
So
nothing that
I
says
can
like,
wear a t-shirt at Randolph.
yes, if it doesn't say like Mr. Budweiser 69 or 68 on it, we're going to let you go with that, right? We don't want to know that
It's-
you were bodybuilding in 68 and 69. We don't
right.
want to know that. But if you had something casual, I actually wear, long sleeve, the fiber.
Performance shirts.
That's what I wear on the golf course. And so, I mean, it's not tacky. It looks good. You don't wear cutoffs or anything. But then you get those guys. And the guy I wanted to bring up to you is you get those guys who look like they are sponsored by a certain person.
He probably can't play.
No, he's all show.
He can't play. It's the
He
same on the basketball court. The guy with Jordans and the whole outfit. Same on the golf course. Best clubs, best bag, best shoes,
he got
best outfit.
$5,000 worth of club
27
and he
handicap.
got a Kmart swing.
Yeah.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
that guy. And so when
Sorry.
you find out in business, it's he's that guy. He's that flashy salesman stealing snake oil, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He ain't about nothing. He's hollow.
Right.
And he's that same way on the golf course
Right.
because he got to be the best of the best, but he plays the worst of the worst. And
Absolutely.
so it's really kind of fun. And I run into those guys. Or on the military side, I run into people who are retired who still think they are that rank. And on the golf course, you're just Rudy, I'm just Dave.
See, I'm not. I'm gonna step out on that one.
Why?
I,
You ain't military?
I,
Step in.
hey man, this is the Air Force Golf Show.
You're right.
But if he's,
Look,
I don't know. I don't know, Dave. I'm gonna let you have that one.
and you know why?
I'm gonna let you have that one
Because
because
we're all
I feel like if that's a perfect example,
Can I give you a classic example?
I'll give you one. If I see one of the generals I interviewed on Base Bites on the golf course, he's still general to me.
You're gonna call him sir, but you're not gonna call him General McMullen. You're gonna call him sir. And he's gonna say, call me
So,
Fred.
so since we name dropping, I got in trouble by the old station for calling Jerry Jones Mr. Jones. They're like, no, he's Jerry. I was like, no.
And
My,
that's a sign of respect.
my mom said he's Mr. Jones. So if I see General Hudson on
Okay.
the golf course, and I'm at the academy, he's General Hudson.
Okay, so let's give you a different
To
thing.
me, that's just my opinion.
Back in
That'll make me right.
Okay, so back in 1986, I arrived at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. I haven't got my orders yet to go where I'm supposed to go. I just got assigned to the
Yeah.
base because I'm in a unique situation,
Right.
right? So I go play golf, and this gentleman came from Alabama. His name's Rufus,
Roll Tide.
right? Rufus Taylor.
Sounds black.
Yes,
Mm.
coolest cat ever, right? Look, yeah, no, cool cat, right? So we go playing. He called me
Uh-huh.
Sergeant Rob,
Yeah.
and sometimes he called me Dave.
See?
No, hold on. Check
Okay.
it out. So we go play. I play 4 weeks with this cat 3 times a week,
Mm-hmm.
right? In the evenings and afternoons, right? I get this phone call, right? And it says, "Hey, Sergeant Roberts, you need to go to the 75th Diamond Brigade to go see the Sergeant Major." So I said, "Okay, fantastic." So I go to the 75th Diamond Brigade. I'm very familiar with Fort Sill. And so I go in
Where's
there.
Fort Sill?
Fort Sill's Oklahoma.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Continue.
And so I go in and they said, "Sergeant Major Taylor want to see you." Okay. So, okay, no, I'm no problem. I'm still, young E5, right? So I walk in the office. It's Command Sergeant Major Rufus Taylor. He says, "I'm Command Sergeant Major here. I'm Rufus on the golf course."
That's mic drop. It's a mic drop.
No, that's
That's a
like,
mic drop. I
what?
feel you. You made your point. You made what I'm saying is you made your point. I
Right.
feel you. But
Yeah.
to each his own.
Right. But I still will call people sir, ma'am, whatever. And then they're going to say, "No, just call me that." And I
If
said,
they do that, then we're a different conversation.
"Right."
Right. If you tell
But
me, yeah,
when we're on the golf course, you don't know that guy. Just like when I tell my son Ty, who's gonna, try out next year for the big tour. I said, "You go play golf at Oak Hills and all these places,
they're your peers. They're no longer your
they don't
idols.
know
Right.
who you are. You don't know who they are. Please respect them because that could be your next sponsor."
Good point.
Right. And he's playing guys, with at different
Yeah.
companies. And because he's doing it with his friend. And, you know, by the second, third hole, it's Ty, it's Joe, it's Jack, it's like this. And there's no, "I'm senior vice president of so and so company," right? And
I
so,
wouldn't even want to know.
yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy big golf is a sport that you can play and you can mix the business with because you have out on that golf course 4.5 hours of uninterrupted time. If you've got a client or something, and you can tell when you're talking to somebody what they are or who they are just by their mannerisms out on that golf course.
There's life.
It does. It
Yeah.
really does.
Well
But you know
said.
what? We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back. We're going to talk about the military side of golf course and how the health and wellness is for that. So, folks, why don't you pour yourself a cold one? We're going to be right back. This is the Air Force Golf Show.